Alright, welcome to Linux Gamer Rep. I am Rep, I am a gamer, and I use Linux. Basically what we're going to do is show you games can be played on Linux, show you what the rig is, so you know what I'm working with. My system's pretty old, but still works great, still plays my games. Alright, so here we go. Okay, I'm running on Linux Mint 19.3. Let me show you the PC that I'm using. It's a laptop Dell Precision M6700. This one has an i5. My system has the i7 in it, and it runs at 2.7, but it'll clock up to 3.6 turbo. L2 cache, the higher the better. On a laptop, it makes a huge difference. So more L2 you got, the better your processor is going to run. That's just because it can load up instructions into that onboard memory and process faster that way. Alright, memory, 16 gigs, got 88% of that free. Swap, used to be a Linux thing, still is a Linux thing. You run out of this. Physical memory, it makes pseudo memory on your hard drive. So it basically acts like, fake memory, but the bus is always slower than actual, memory. So storage, my 2 SSDs, 2 solid state drives, my NVIDIA, doesn't know what it is. It's 4 gigabytes of RAM on it. It's running at 1050 right now. So let's go to the NVIDIA. It says I have the 530 driver in there. Now I am using the CUDA drivers because I do CGI with Blender, and Quadro is meant for CAD work and CGI and 3D modeling and whatnot. Now this card's not supposed to be in the system because it's a generation ahead of my system, and my system wouldn't be able to handle it if I was on Windows without having a custom driver. In Linux, on the other hand, Linux sees it, it uses it. That's one of the best parts of it. So, 4 gigabytes of RAM, it's not the best. It's not the worst either. Like my pass mark score for this particular GPU is 5443, 4 gigs, close to GTX 970M. Got a little better score, less memory. Let's take a look at how you would play games. Now there's, I'd say, 5 different ways you can play games. One of them is Steam. The next one is Lutris. The next one is Playonlinux. Now all of those are based on Wine. Wine is like the meat and potatoes of how Linux translates Windows games into being usable. Then there's Wine, of course, basically builds your own drives for each of the games you want to play. And it's really not that complicated once you start figuring it out. And then the last option is games do run natively on Linux. Okay, let's take a look at Steam real quick. Champion Online, you can play that one. Dungeons and Dragons Online, you can play. L7, you can play. These guys ticked me off because one time they supported Linux Play, and then they pulled it, and then I figured out a way to make it work on Linux and Chromebook, and I submitted in the forums. Go back next day, they banned my forum account just for trying to help them. They don't care about the community or having a community. Fallout 4, you can play it. Fallout Shelter, you can play. Guild Wars 2, you can play. Iris Online, that was one of those games that went offline, and in the private sector people picked it up, made a private server. You can play it. Lord of the Rings, you can play. Outer Worlds, you can play. This and Iris Online, I got it working on here through other means, and then I moved it over to the Proton side of things to make it work a little better. Path Exile, you can play it. Pathfinder Kingmaker runs natively. Rift, pain in the butt to get working. You need proprietary drive, otherwise you have artifacts on your game. Scrap Mechanic works here. Star Wars or Old Republic is supposed to work. Trove works. Villagers and Heroes works. Warframe works. XCOM 2 works because it's native. Let's go to store page. Little Steam icon means it works on Linux. Alright, these are ones I've gotten working so far except for Old Republic. I had Star Trek Online working on here, and then all of a sudden they didn't update. They crashed their servers and then it doesn't work anymore. But I'll get back into that later on. Steam. Very viable for a Linux gamer. Lutris. I can play Or Kingdom on here. Blizzard. Battle.net. I got Diablo 2 Resurrected and Diablo 3. They both work. City of Heroes. That was a closed game server that got reopened by the people. It works. Star Wars Galaxies emulator. This is the home for it. This is the launcher for it. So that works. Playonlinux. The only one I have on here is Skyrim Special Edition. I had it installed on my Windows, transferred it over. When my Windows crashed, I brought it over and got it working on here, but didn't want to work on Lutris. I think I tried it on Steam. It wasn't happy with either one of them, so I put it in Playonlinux, configured it using Wine version 6.17 staging. Here's what I found out as a Linux gamer. Update your kernel sparingly. You don't want to update every time it comes through, because if you're like me, you have an NVIDIA, that proprietary driver requires a module be attached to the kernel. So once you update your kernel, that module goes away, and you'd actually have to get a new module attached from your driver to the new kernel. Don't update your kernel unless you necessarily have to. Best advice I can give you. I'm sure AMD is probably the same way. Okay, showed you which ones run natively. The Lutrises, the Playonlinux, and Fallen Earth. I built that one in Wine because the other ones, Steam, Lutris, Playonlinux, did not like it very well. So the only way I could get it to install was to go into a terminal and build it into its own Wine runner. Alright, Albion Online runs natively. So you don't have to worry about all those extra steps. You go, you get their launcher, launch it, it installs, it plays. You get on Fallen Earth, you gotta use Wine with the console commands. Now to give you some examples of how things work. Skyrim Special Edition. Go to Configure. Go check the configure real quick. Let me get an idea of what I put on there. See, libraries. DirectX 10 in it. DirectX 11, DirectX 9, X Audio. So those were all the install components I put in there. So I don't have a FPS program for this, so I can't give you an FPS number. I can in Steam, but not on this one. Alright, options. Looks like we're running a mix of ultra and high. So let's take a look. You may notice in some of these games, they run a little faster on the loading, especially if you're on a streamlined system like I got. Usually doesn't take a whole lot of time to load it up and get moving or go between load zones. Here we are in the underground mushroom place. Okay, get my homeboy up. I saw some hostiles, homeboys, somewhere. See? It's not a bad experience.
Who's there?
Say hello to my little friend.
Guys, I guess just don't follow the fucking sky, you know? Beautiful, naked, big women just don't follow the sky, you know?
I always did like it down here. It's pretty mushroom cave. Let me get my dogs out. To rate this, I'm probably sitting about 30, 40 frames per second. Hey, you wanna wake up? There you go.
Where'd you...
Why are you sleeping, girl? Okay. So, there you go. Confirmed working. If you guys need ask questions, I can give you a hand on making that work.
Who's there? That'll teach you.
Alright, so, as you can see, Skyrim's a go. Let's cut out of here. Let's close that out. Alright, that is an example of Playonlinux working. Let's go to Lutris. Alright, Lutris, private server, City of Heroes. On a 64-bit version of the game. Yeah, private server guys. Took a 32-bit game and made it into the 64-bit. They got some real talent behind it. This is the last new guy I made. So I'll show you partial, configuration parts on this one too. Alright, we got Ninja Run. So, confirm running. I don't have frame per seconds on it, so I can't show you. Back and beat up on something real quick. There you go. say definitely higher frames per second. Okay, configure, game options, 64-bit architecture, using Lutris 7.2, using DirectX VK 2.2, and yeah, that's about it. So that's a look under the hood on that one. Okay, Steam ran games. This is bought, installed, and played on Steam itself using compatibility layer Proton 7.0-6. Once it's installed, swap it out to that. The overlay is how I'm going to get the frames per second, so you guys can take a look at that. And the ultra highs and best quality, no ambient, no weapon debris. This one can get a little bit weird because you can set it on the highest setting and the lowest setting, and for me it looks the same. Oh, and since I'm recording, I'm losing frame rates. So normally this would hit in the 50s, 40s. The overlay plus the recording, I'm dropping into the 30s. Still playable, but just kind of weird because I don't know, Linux has its own way of doing things. Okay, we are at 30 frames per second. Alright, we are working. Alright, I see your red dots. Where are you at? Oh, crap. Well, that was quite the surprise. Yeah, that's funny. 2 balls. It's better than just having 1. Alright. Well, with recording, with the overlay, I'm at 30 frames per second. It's not bad, all things considering. Alright. Well, there you have it. Proof of Proton.
My onboard functions are operating at full capacity.
And it's pretty. Alright, let's get out of here. Kingmaker is one of my new ones, and XCOM both run native on Linux. So I bought it here in the Steam store, and it doesn't require to use wine or wine type assets like Proton, Lutris, or Playonlinux, or Wine Layer. So let's give that a look. I don't know what the frames are per second gonna look like now that it's native. I wonder if I even got the overlay on it. Yeah, we're about to find out. Oh, I do have it on. It's like I hadn't played it in a while. Oh, this is one where I died.
I'll try not to break this one.
Yeah, I don't know why they're firing on there so loud. Bomber.
Let's do this. Good call. Moving on target. On my way.
There should be enough neural tissue remaining to extract the data I need.
Alright, that just shows how good I am at the game. Alright, but runs natively, was hitting in the 50s, 60s frames per second. So that's native. And I showed you Fallout 4, which is Proton. And I showed you City of Heroes through Lutris. Skyrim through Playonlinux. Alright, so the other one, the last one, directly through Wine with Fallen Earth. And that's not using the front ends with their add-ons like Steam, Lutris, and Playonlinux. This is directly into the Wine layer. This is one of my favorite games, just because all the crafting you can do in it, just the little details. It made it an awesome game. And the people that bought it are going to rebuild it, but they took the server down and they decided, well, we'll bring the server up in the classic version until we get the other one built, which is really nice of them. So this is one I'll be playing a lot. Okay. This is my bike. It's biodiesel, so I can make my own fuel. I go into L, science, biodiesel. I need 10 tainted grains and weak botanical chemicals, 3 of those, to make 5 cans of biodiesel. But I already got 34 that I built. Oh, the frying pans. Alright. Right now, well, you can't see it because all the temporary buffs are on. I'm hitting the 30 mark frames per second. Titanic grain to make biodiesel, right there. Regular petroleum gas is expensive, so you can also craft horses. There you are. Yeah, go right there. My frying pans are so satisfying. I dual wield them. Wait till you hear this. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, that's just so satisfying, the little tang. But this is a crafting intensive kind of game. And if you like those ones, like if you want to target them, you can basically click and there you go. Beaten to death with a iron skillets. Have one cast iron skillet, two cast iron skillets. They do 22 crushing damage, delay of 1.3 seconds, require melee 6. I do not have melee 6. I have melee nothing. Melee 1. So in order to do full damage, you need to have melee 6. Normally, I'll just hit them with... That's my rifle. My crossbow. And they're dead. You can craft your own crossbow. You can craft your own ammo. You can craft your own ride. Craft your horses. Craft your drink. Drinks, food, offer you buffs. Stimulant shots, buffs. They all last an hour. You can craft a tent that you hang around. It gives you buffs. And the buffs are like regeneration and stuff like that. This is my mutant though. He has special abilities, like X-Man. Believe me? Yeah, you can get the rifle on. Scope him. Too far away. Draw him near. Yeah, my propel has like insane amounts of rage. Alright, time to X-Man his ass. He's on fire! He's in cold! He's dead. Now they'll probably tell you, you know, like, everybody craps on this game that plays it. I like it. It's one of my favorite games. But they'll tell you, you know, this game is this, that, and everything. But a lot of people complain that it's on here. They're still on here playing this game. Obviously, there's something they like about it. Alright, that's working directly in Wine. So, as you can see, gaming is not impossible. If you want to find out what works on Steam and Linux, go to Proton database. We'll ask for the Outer Worlds. Go in here, Proton database, the Outer Worlds, and be a list of everybody who's actually tried making it work, and their successes and failures, and what they think it's worthwhile. So before you purchase the game, get on here, get an idea if it's good or if it's not. Gold runs perfectly after tweaks. These are your Steam Deck people, and then you get into the PC part of it. Game works well, throw a bit much for my laptop. Tinker Steps, Launcher, Lutris, Custom, Proton, Golden Egg Roll. So, you got working on Lutris. I think I got it. No, I got working on Steam. Let's find out. There's 2, so... yeah, looks like it's still working.
Hey, you've tried the best now. Now try the rest. Spacer's choice. Oh, wow, that stings. Looks like the bleeding stopped. I owe you one. Hope you don't mind me omitting this little exchange from my report. Spacer's choice doesn't like us accepting outside help.
Okay. I'll rework that one. Probably jump into it later. Okay, so there you have it. Working stuff. Probably not the best, but definitely not the worst. Spacer's choice. Okay, well, I'm gonna call it quits for a while. You guys have a good night, day, something, whatever, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.